Hey y'all, Joseph McBrayer here with another video about some church cinematography, and today specifically I'm talking about how to get better portraits. Everyone needs pictures of staff people, of all the things happening in church life, nonprofit. Your kid needs pictures. All of us need pictures of people doing things. And one of the questions that I often get is, how do you do a lot of these things as a sole operator, as one person doing it? And so today I'm actually going to show you how I would take some self-portraits. I had to do some portraits this week, and I had to up my game to get things better, to take pictures of this person in a way that would help them do what they needed to accomplish. But portraits happen for all of us, whether those are professionals who we're hiring to do portraits for our families or for our professional world, whether that's a headshot for an acting gig, or whether that's just pictures for your website, for your nonprofit, or for your church. You don't have to have giant fancy equipment to do these things. It does help to not be taking your own pictures. I'll just straight up say that it's not easy to do from an app like this, but we're gonna make it work for today. So what I'm gonna do is show you some about how I would go about taking pictures of myself. So I've got 3 cameras. The main camera here, BlackMagic, which you can take stills with that actually look really good, but that's not its function. It's a cinema camera made for filming things. And then I've also got the Canon EOS R. I love this camera. It's great for video and stills, great hybrid camera. Of course, there are better cameras for video like this one, or better cameras with autofocus, the R5, R6, as well as all the different cinema cameras that Canon and other brands make. There are better still cameras that you can buy. The R5 and R6 are 2 of those that have come out. But for me, as someone who wants an affordable camera that I can take pictures with, and then also switch immediately over to do video, great for a whole host of things. The lens I have on here today is a 70-200 Tamron, f2.8 V2 G2, has vibration reduction, which is sort of image stabilization built into the lens, great for video things. But also a 70-200 on a full frame camera is great for getting in and getting some of this great out of focus, so good depth of field. It's good in low light, and it's really good for video. It's always our B camera for when we film here at the church, and now that I'm using this camera as the main. The camera actually filming the monitor, the Atmos recording device, is a Canon 80D, which is a crop frame sensor. Great little camera. It's what I started off with once I got past my Rebel T1i, an old school, my first digital camera with interchangeable lenses. For lighting today, I've got 2 main light sources in addition to all the sanctuary lighting here. This is the Forza 60B, a bicolor light with a grid on it, giving me some directional light. There was some sun out today earlier, but now it's cloudy, so this is what we've got. And then also I've got a rim light right here that allows me to get some of this nice fill on the backside, both from a photography and video standpoint. It's helpful. In photography, you can go in and then later edit the shadows up a little bit and all that. When you do that in video, it's a little more difficult to keep the image from looking broken down or over editing it. So you want to get as good of lighting as you can. This light is really close to me in this camera, but in this camera for the video, I'll just take one of the photos here so you can sort of see how this works. And that was it, right? So I'm in the shot looking at my phone like, and I'll post these. So there's different ways to get photos of what you want, right? If you're a nonprofit and you're looking to get just headshots of people, then what you can do is actually put this is the Canon Connect app. I'm gonna put it on a delayed timer. So I'm gonna take this let's do a 2-second timer because 10 seconds is too long. And then what I'm do is I'm going to literally pop this phone out of the shot, out of this camera, and then I'm gonna look at the camera and I'm gonna give my best. I always look too serious in photos, is what everyone tells me. So I'm gonna smile and be happy about this and look and say, yeah. And there's that photo. So I'll crop that in to put it in square for that. You see how the nice out of focus lights are here behind me, and I can see sort of what's happening on the monitor for this, if that's helpful. But there's a lot of things happening in the background. In this main shot, you get sort of the wide shot of the sanctuary. This would be a fine portrait, but it doesn't isolate your subject quite so much. So when you put a longer lens on it, I believe that one's at somewhere at 75 or 80. I'll put the exact numbers down in the description. to give it a little more separation from the subject. So you see you've got candle light looking types of things. It makes you feel like there's more people here than just me maybe. But in this shot in the main, you can see there's no one in the sanctuary. So for that warm sort of shot, you can get that. Even if I step over here and provide a little bit of space off to this side, that may be more of what you're looking for in this shot. A little bit of shadow on the face on this side. So here we go. Let's try that portrait. And then some people like the thoughtful, I'm looking away. I'll give a lot of space on this one, so it feels like I'm looking off into the distance. And just for fun, you can make it look like you're taking a giant selfie. So, like this. So that's if you want a selfie of yourself taking a selfie. Anyway, that's a thing apparently that I learned from college students back in the day. When one person takes a selfie, the other person takes a selfie of you all taking a selfie. So it's a selfie within a selfie. It sounds very Inception-like. Anyway, things to look at. So what you can do, a couple different things. You can actually change the depth of this lens by zooming in and out. So I'm going to put it a little bit closer. I'm just going to walk over here and literally move the camera lens. I'm at 135 now, but if I put it into 200, let's see how close this is. This is as close as that lens can get to me. Now, your face is going to be shaped differently in this kind of light. I'm going to get a little bit lower, so I'm in the shot. And then you see how the bokeh in this lens actually changes a lot. It's more circular and round. We're at f2.8 here. I prefer the way this lens looks at that level. And so now I'm just look straight at camera and smile and take a picture. So let's see, 3, 2, 1. And that's pretty good. So you can see actually on the app what I'm looking at. It's got a little bit of delay. See the delay, but you know, that's pretty good. You can also do settings on this, so I can change the aperture. So let's put it up to like an f4 and see what that looks like, if it changes the lighting anyway. So get off of that part, have it focus on me. There we go. And then we're gonna shoot another shot with me bending down a little bit just to give that better framing. And so you can see in these two shots, there's a little bit of difference at f2.8, f4, but let's put it all the way up to like f8. You ready? So here we go. 3, 2. Yeah, it was a much longer exposure. So let's bring that back down to f2.8, just because that lets us get all that light in. I'm only at ISO 400 on that camera, so it's helpful to know. Now, if I pull it back out to around 70, you can actually see the light in this. So that's okay in some ways, but you see how the background is not as interesting, frankly. You can also see some light fall off from this part. But let's say I was going to crop this into just a portrait, 4x5, 8x10 for social media, for Instagram, or just a vertical image. Yeah, so let's shoot one of those and see how that looks. Get myself sort of between these chandeliers. So here we go. I'm going to press that and then pop back up. And hopefully that's a decent way to get that picture that I should be able to crop that in and make that look good. So again, I prefer it to be somewhere a little bit closer. And there are different focal lengths that people prefer that have better or worse characteristics of how they make your face feel a little more squished in or a little more stretched out. When you're on a wide-angle lens like this is 17 to 55, 2.8 with image stabilization on a crop frame sensor, so it's somewhere around 35 millimeters, maybe a little further out than that. I'll have to look and see for that part of things. But it gives a much wider feel. Now, if you want a full-body shot like this, you can do that. The great thing about this camera is actually I can pull stills from it. So let's just play with that for a little bit. So if I wanted to have me sort of in the church, let's do it this way so the shadow is on this part of my face. And so if it looks like I'm just like, welcome to church, y'all, then that I can pull the screenshot from that and then use that on social media, other places. Again, a 4K or 6K image that you crop in and make a screenshot out might be fine for Instagram or for other things. And so that's one of the ways you can do that with even just a high resolution camera when you're filming to create that thumbnail for later for YouTube or just to use as a portrait on Instagram or other things. When you're actually shooting this with someone, you don't necessarily have all these lights and things. You can use natural light, you can look for good settings. I took a couple of other shots down at a sanctuary floor this past week, and liked the way those came out. I took those down in a sanctuary floor. It was different lighting than it is now, but it gives you a sense of how those images can look. So here are a couple of them. Too serious. I look way too serious in all of my test shots for this round. But it gives you an idea of how a good portrait can convey more. In this one, I'm sort of standing dead center. You get the leading lines that draw your eye into the subject, as well as having the background. In this case, I didn't have any candles on or anything like that. But it's a nice way to get that sort of feel for it. You can also shoot portraits outdoors in natural light. It's so much more forgiving than artificial light many times. Taking self-portraits is not easy, but you can do it. It's just a matter of how you do it. So let's just do a picture inside of a picture. That feels appropriate. So we'll do one of these where I just... And it's that easy, folks. So if I could do a picture and a picture and a picture and a picture, that would be great. I don't have the resolution for that on this camera, but it would be fun. So that's a little bit about how I would do some portraits. Again, I've used a 50mm lens, a 35mm lens, a 70-200. There's all kinds of different ways. If you have a tripod and a timer on your cell phone, you can get great self-portraits. You can do it, you can frame it up, have a friend sit there, frame it up, and then take their picture with this camera, or set a timer, and then you trade places and you jump in, or have them come over and stand and touch the button to take the picture. So I hope it's been helpful for you to think about that, and let me know how you're doing portraits. Again, thanks so much for watching this video and this channel, and good luck taking those portraits, and we'll see you on the internets. Oh, and also, you can see a lot of these portraits actually on my Instagram channel, which I'll link below, and you can go and connect there. I'd love to see what portraits you're creating. So thanks so much for watching today. Again, I'm Joseph, and peace, y'all.